Finalist here in 1981 is playing the lady who beat her on that day in the final, Evert-Lloyd, now 31 years old, champion 3 times, going back as far as 1974. Mrs. Lloyd was champion in 1974, 76 and 81, and this is how she's reached this semi-final, with a rather tough match in the quarter-final against Hana Mandlikova, the number 7 seed, who took her to 6-4 in the final set, and an almost disastrous first set against Kathy Jordan when she was trailing 1-5. And this is how Miss Mandlikova, the number 3 seed, has come through to the semi-final. With Laurie McNeil taking 1 set. And here are the ladies. The former champion on the right, Evert-Lloyd, 3 times champion. Sir? And the former finalist, Hana Mandlikova. We can show you now what's happened in their previous meetings. And they've met 24 times before, these two. There you are, and it's broken down into the surfaces on which they've played their matches. So Mrs. Lloyd has won 19, and Miss Mandlikova 5 times. Interesting that indoors, Miss Mandlikova has the edge, and if you look at the bottom line, the recent form has been very even indeed. In the last 2 seasons, they share 6 matches. So it does look like being a needle match, this, between these 2 ladies, and I'm sure our commentators are looking forward to it. Again, former ladies champion Anne Jones, this time with Dan Maskell.
And certainly, Harry, I couldn't be looking forward to it more, because I believe the scene is now set for one of the most eagerly awaited matches that I can remember for a very long time. And I think if both players find their best form, it really should be a very memorable classic, I think, between the world's greatest match-playing baseliner, Mrs. Lloyd, and one of the finest all-court exponents of the all-court game. Well, now, the 31-year-old Mrs. Lloyd, she's playing her 15th successive Wimbledon and her 14th semi-final, and she's won the title 3 times, 1974, 76 and 1981, and been the runner-up 7 times. And in her 5 rounds to reach the semi-final stage, she dropped a set in the 2nd round to unseeded fellow American Pam Casale, having won the first set 6-love, lost the second 5-7, won the third 6-1. She beat the number 16 seed Kathy Jordan, US Whiteman Cup player, 7-5, 6-2. And in the quarter-final, she beat the number 7 seed, Czechoslovakia's Hana Mandlikova, 6-4 in the final set, and that really was a very hotly contested 2-hour struggle. And her opponent, 24-year-old Hana Mandlikova, Czechoslovakia's top player, seeded 3 and world-ranked 4. This is her 8th Wimbledon since 1979 and her 3rd semi-final. She was the runner-up in 1981, losing to Mrs. Lloyd 6-2, 6-2, having beaten Martina Navratilova in the semi-final in 3 sets. And she was a semi-finalist in 1984, losing again to Mrs. Lloyd 6-1, 6-2. But her great talent really has been rewarded with 3 of the 4 Grand Slam titles: the Australian Open on grass in 1980, the French on clay in 1981, and the US Open on cement last year. And only the greatest of all has so far escaped her, Wimbledon. But who knows what might happen this year. In her 5 rounds, she's had a fairly easy run, but was pressed by, in the 4th round, she was pressed by the number 11 seed, Canada's Caroline Bassett, 6-4, 7-6, and she lost her only set in the quarter-final to the unseeded Laurie McNeil of the United States, world rank 77. Anne Jones with me here, and we were discussing before we came into the box this match, and we both think it really might turn out to be really a very memorable affair.
Yes, indeed, and It would be great to see a lovely semi-final here today. The conditions are perfect. There's very little wind. It's not quite so warm, I don't think, so it should be ideal for both players. So there's nothing to distract either of them. And I rather feel Chrissy has had two tough matches against Kathy Jordan and again against Helena Sukova. So to me, she looks very match tight and extremely fit and sharp. She's been serving well these championships, and her usual ground strokes have been their usual accurate selves. Hana Mandlikova has had a quiet time. She hasn't had a lot of press on her back, and I think that she's behaved very well. She's been very calm and cool and collected during these championships, rather as she was during the US Open last year when she won. She hasn't really been tested, so it'll be interesting to see how she plays today. She's got the equipment to beat Chris, there's no doubt about that. I suppose it's just a question of how much of that equipment she can produce here on this court. She's a very emotional young lady, but to me she now has those emotions well under control and seems very happy playing the sport that she loves.
1 minute.
I think it's fair to say, Anne, isn't it, that she has worked hard to improve her control of the ball. Rather, you know, she used to be an impatient player, going for winners very quickly.
Yeah.
I think she's worked hard to get better ball control and to be able to sustain a rally. And I think her opponent, Mrs. Lloyd, has really perhaps worked a little harder to improve her net game, and she really does volley much better than people think. And I'm always surprised that she really doesn't sometimes, when she's playing a net brushing volleyer, that she herself doesn't come in more often.
I think she does come in a lot more now than she used to,
Miss
but
Mandlikova won the
it
toss.
all depends on the occasion, doesn't it, Dan? It's a very big moment for both of them.
And the voice we hear is Richard Coughlin from the United States, one of the professional umpires who travels the world. A likable man indeed, who understands players as well as most people.
Quiet, please. Thank you. Miss Mandlikova to serve. First set. Quiet, please. Play. Love 15. All.
So the serve volley tactic working very well there, and so far 3 points paid and 3 first services have gone in.
All. Forty, 30.
That's a brilliant return. Absolutely brilliant return. It's the forehand down what is the backhand line. She doesn't cover the net as quickly as she might have done, and she just fails with the half volley. But the point there forced by Mrs. Lloyd.
Advantage, Mrs. Lloyd. Game, Mrs. Lloyd. First game.
And Chrissy really here made a very, very good start. That first point, I think, was very indicative of how she intends to play this match. As soon as Hana closes in on the net, out is going to come that very accurate lob. And here, Chrissy too, playing some very, very good passing shots. Hana, no mean serve, wide, and Chrissy anticipating it on her backhand and rockets it down the line. Hana there, I think, approaching the net with no real conviction that she was going to make that volley. And Chris looking very secure indeed right from the outset of this match.
And I'm not so sure that I've seen two players, either men or women, who started a match so well as both of them. Hana really served extraordinarily well, didn't she?
Yes, she did, but Chrissy was ready for it. You know, I'm not sure how much more Hana can throw at Chrissy than Helena Sukova threw at her in the last round. Chrissy survived that, and to me she looks very fit and confident.
Mrs. Lloyd to serve. Love 15.
You'll remember that, I think.
$15 all.
And here Hana
15,
employed the
30.
same tactics she used against Carling Bassett. This beautifully executed stop volley.
15-30.
$30 all. $40-30. Deuce. Advantage, Mrs. Lloyd.
She can't afford to make unforced errors like that. Lots of time for that cross-court forehand.
Deuce.
Employing interesting tactics, Hana Mandlikova, sometimes taking the serve on the backhand to play the deep approach and come into volley, and then the very short, almost drop shot and following that in, particularly against second serves. Deuce. Beautiful play.
And here, from Chris's point of view, is the end of that last rally. She sees her opportunity to play the drop shot and moves in behind it and stretches up beautifully for that backhand volley.
Game, Mrs. Lloyd. Mrs. Lloyd leads 2-0.
I think she'll be very pleased too to have held that service game, having broken the first game. That's a good start to love.
Love. Love. Love.
First ace. Oh, what a chance.
Game, Miss Mandlikova. Mrs. Lloyd leads 2-1, first set.
Well, that's the way to win your serve, having dropped your first, to win your second service game to love, but rather a bad error by Mrs. Lloyd as she lost that last point.
But I think that shows the growth in stature of Hana Mandlikova since here last year. Here last year, when she'd lost the first 2 games to deuce like that after a real struggle, Hana would have tended to fold and make a present of the third. But not so this year. Hana has grown so much that she's determined to stick to her plan, to stick to her guns. Just as she did on this court against Carling Bassett, she's decided how to play her. Carling isn't unlike Chrissy, not as good, of course, but not an unlike game. And she played these drop volleys and short shots. And even when they didn't work, she still continued to go for them. I think that Hana and Betty Stove, her coach, have worked out this plan before this match, and Hana is going to stick to it, come what may.
One, 2, first set.
Love 15.
Mrs. Lloyd looking a little surprised at the call, but it's just a fault.
$15 all. $15-30.
And here's Betty Stove. Look in the white hiding behind the photographers. Usually the coaches sit up in the players' box, but not Betty. And here, Hana
40.
playing a really clever point. That beautiful slice. Chrissy not being as accurate as she might be. And presenting an easy one.
2 break points. That's a very fine shot.
2 games all.
And that final point there played beautifully by Hana Mandlikova. Drop shotting from just behind the baseline and making it. So that's restored the break to all, first set.
First service. $15 love. 30 love.
Oh, that's a magnificent volley. Well, this is a really terrific shot. This is one of the most difficult shots in the game. This high backhand volley, often called a backhand smash, and she puts it away first time with a brilliantly angled shot. 40 love. Yes.
40-15.
She positions herself well for that forehand, and the server didn't really cover it. Wasn't sure which side she was going to play.
Game is Mandlikova. Mandlikova leads 3-2, first set.
Well, Mrs. Lloyd was a had a 2-love lead, and then she played rather a loose third game and lost it to Love. She somehow seemed to lose just her grip, not merely of the stroke, but slightly of concentration, almost as though, well, I'm not doing badly, I'm 2-love. And for her, it really was, I think, a loss of concentration so early in the match.
I think, though, Dan, that we're looking at two very determined ladies here. We're no longer looking at the face of experience in the case of Chris and youth in the case of Hana Mandlikova. Chris is hoping that she would win the match as she did in the French Championship semi-final, 6-1, 6-1. And Hana Mandlikova will be thinking, well, I'd like a repeat of the US Open, thank you very much. They both know they can win, and they're both determined to do so here and now. And here is the Mrs. Evert-Lloyd on the left of your picture in yellow, and John Lloyd, Chris's husband, and the coach, Dennis Ralston.
So Mrs. Lloyd has got to serve well and play well now to stop the rot. She's lost 3 games in a row.
Love 15. Love 30. $15-30.
Let's find a backhand volley, as you'll see.
$15-40. 30-40. First service.
It's in, well played.
And Chris here showing how much happier she is at the net than she's been before. Moving in voluntarily and making a really athletic leap to cover that one.
Advantage, Mrs. Lloyd. Game, Mrs. Lloyd. Three games all.
So a very good hand there for Mrs. Lloyd as she pulls back from 15-40 and the possibility of being 1-4 down. Instead of that, 3-all. Yes.
And now Chrissy has regained her confidence.
Love 15.
Hitting the ball so crisply. What a sprint.
In. Well, here's an accurate
15-all.
reply. A really extraordinary shot. The accuracy of this is hard to believe. Right in the junction. And by the way, this is the last game with this present box of balls, and this is the game when people always look for a chance with the slightly softer balls to break the serve.
Thirty, 15. Forty, 15.
Well, that certainly is an uncharacteristic return on the back end by Mrs. Lloyd.
Forty, 30. Deuce.
That heavily sliced ball seemed to float. A hot day, as we've had almost all of this Wimbledon, and hot weather certainly makes the balls a little flighty. 3-all deuce, first set.
Advantage, Mrs. Lloyd.
Bad luck.
Deuce.
And this serve really kicked to Chrissy's backhand, opening up the court, and she was just unable to make up the ground.
Chin.
Advantage, Mrs. Lloyd.
Rather weak judgment on the part of the server. Now, if she serves a second serve again, I wonder whether she'll get as much kick on it as she had before, because it completely embarrassed Mrs. Lloyd. Just out.
Game, Mrs. Lloyd. 12 change. Mrs. Lloyd leads 4-3, first set.
And Chrissy looked in deep trouble, didn't she, at 2-3 and 15-40. And then she went to the net and played a very good volley, made it 30-40. And I think it's the first time I've seen Chrissy superstitious on court. She actually asked the ball boy for the same ball back. And served with it the next point and won it and won that game. And then indeed hung in 40-15. Hana Mandlikova led on her serve. Chrissy hung in and eventually won it. Those are the sort of determined efforts that we expect from our great champion. No greater sign of her determination than in this point. She expected the serve, I think, to the backhand again, where it went previous time. And Hannah reacting so well and so quickly to that, but unable to make it quite short enough. Going for the lob volley, but just misjudging it. Much to the relief of Chris, who was standing watching it. So Hannah can't say she hasn't had her chances in this opening set, can she?
It's a funny thing, you know. In men's tennis particularly, they're always looking for the chance with the last game with the old balls to break. I don't know whether they do so much in women's tennis, but Mrs. Lloyd now serving with new balls, which is certainly a help.
Fifteen love.
Waiting for the call.
Onside, ball was out. 30 love.
Excuse me?
I saw space between ball and line. It's blocked out by gave me onside.
Only because she stopped not playing, you give her the ball. I don't think that's fair.
I was waiting for the call. He gave me onside it and made the
So Richard Kaufman says quite definitely it was not called by the line judge, but he saw it clearly as out. So the score is 30-love.
Thirty, 15. All.
Second double fought from Mrs. Lloyd. And in that 12-stroke rally, some very fine counter-punching by both ladies on their forehands, both taking the ball right at the top of the muds.
Deuce.
Four-three, deuce, first set.
Advantage, Miss Mandlikova.
Mrs. Lloyd finding it difficult to find a gap there, having to come forward to that drop shot with the player who's 5'8" and a long reach, blanketing the net.
Getting Miss Mandlikova. Four games all.
And really a classic rally of its kind, that absolutely lovely. Every ball that was struck in that rally was perfectly timed. You could hear both rackets ringing and singing to the perfection of the timing. 4-all, first set.
First service.
Good call. Hana doesn't like it, but I'm sure it was a good call, and the lineswoman's arm went out straight away to underline the call.
Love.
wild service.
Love.
Well, sun and the clouds going in and out, it's making it a little difficult for the servers, and particularly the server who goes in behind. If they serve into the sun, they haven't really cleared their vision, as it were, when they probably have to make a rather difficult volley.
Love. Game is Mandlikova.
Well,
Miss Mandlikova leads 5 games to 4, first set.
Just have a look at this lovely service here. Hana Mandlikova, a great stylist and a beautiful service action. She doesn't throw the ball in the air, she places it there, and then comes the terrific explosion, throwing the racket head into the ball and all the weight going forward. So it's a model service, Anne, I think, don't you?
Yes, indeed, and you note how well she's leaning into the ball when she finally makes contact with it. So she has not just the throwing action of the arm, but all the weight of the body behind it. And really, what a time to serve it, too. It's lovely to have a weapon like that up your sleeve, finish off a game. And how well she's hitting the ball. She's hitting it so much harder these last couple of games. Nodding, I'm sure, to Betty. Betty encouraging her to stick to her plan. Betty looking surprisingly cool, calm and collected. But Hana has certainly stepped up the pace in the last couple of games and peppering the Evert-Lloyd forehand. That's the side that the players like to attack if they can. Chrissy doesn't usually give them too much opportunity, but Hana is making her opportunities today. 4-5.
Love.
Mrs. Lloyd hasn't hit many forehands harder than that.
Love. Love. Game, Mrs. Lloyd. Five games all.
So Mrs. Lloyd quick to answer the love game with a love game of her own. And we thought this was going to be a hard, tough match and probably a long one. And it looks as though that's going to be the right forecast. It's 5-all in the first set. They've been on court just 42 minutes.
First service. Love. Fifteen all.
Hana was ready for this volley. The smash she can't quite
30,
put away, and it's
15.
rather short because he slashes at it, but Hana reads it perfectly.
And what lovely approach ground strokes she played. No, just a few inches inside the baseline. Beautiful length.
Forty, 15.
Great service.
Game, Miss Mandlikova. Miss Mandlikova leads 6 games to 5, first set.
So it will be Mrs. Lloyd who will be serving to try and bring this to a tie-break first set. Elaine, I think the match living up to its expectations.
Yes, and I think, to me, at this very interesting stage of the first set, it's strange to see how the match is played from the Mandlikova point of view. She was 5-4 up just when her service came to love, and then she relaxed just 1 second, gave Chrissy a short forehand, which Chrissy cleaned away for a winner, love 15, and Chrissy, 15 love, and Chrissy won the rest of that game so easily. She gave her 1 short ball, 1 forehand that Chris could play beautifully into the corner, and that in turn gives Chris back her confidence, and she wins that game to love. And then Hana again in that last game, her service looking a little wild at 15 all, but then she pulled it together and served out for that game. There doesn't seem to be really any rhyme or reason for the changes, but she's obviously used to them, so she keeps going just the same. And Chrissy needs a good service game here, many short ones, and Hana will chip either deep or short and come in. 5-6.
15 love.
Oh.
15 all. First service.
Well, here Mrs. Lloyd has the initiative all the time, but when it came to it, coming into the net, there was a classic forehand cross-court return.
$30 all.
5-6, 30 all, first set.
And Hana here coming to the net, but
40,
lacking
30.
in conviction, I think, although the passing shot was good. Hana scrambled after it, but couldn't quite control it.
40-30. Oh, what play! Well, now here shows the improving quality of the Lloyd volleys. That's a very difficult ball, that high backhand volley, and she wrong-foots her opponent with a clean winner. What a lovely point to, lovely stroke to win the game and make it 6-all. Tie break, Hana Mandlikova serving.
One, 0, Mrs. Lloyd. One all. Not up. 2-1, Miss Mandlikova.
Miss Mandlikova certainly ahead on net chords. The first 3 points of the tiebreak, all against the service.
Three, 1, Miss Mandlikova. Four, 1, Miss Mandlikova. First service. Four, 2, Miss Mandlikova.
Mrs. Lloyd to it's a break point down.
First service.
Oh, no.
Four, 3, Miss Mandlikova.
What's a good second service?
5, 3, Miss Mandlikova. 5-4, Miss Mandlikova.
Oh, that's a philosophy.
And Hannah treats this shot with
6-4,
contempt. Look how early
Miss
she takes it.
Mandlikova.
Almost a half volley, straight down the line. Such power.
And she has 2 set points. Yes.
6-5, Miss Mandlikova.
So with 2 serves to come and holding a set point. Okay.
First set, Miss Mandlikova. Seven games to 6.